In this video, we're going to look at how to make decisions on good seats and how to make that seat selection on American Airlines. It's Joe time. Welcome everybody. I'm Mark and this is the Average Me channel. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to ask that you click my face in the corner to subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell icon up above so you know when I post new videos. In this video, we are going to look at how to make seat selections on American Airlines. When you purchase a ticket, you do not have to sit where they put you. As soon as you get confirmation of a purchase, you can go in and start looking at seats and make seat selections. Now I'm going to walk you through this and I'm going to show you screenshots from the phone app. However, the same process can be done almost in an identical way through their online website. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have the American Airlines app. If you don't, it's very easy. Just go to the App Store. If it's Android, is it Android Play or something like that? I don't know, I don't have an Android device. But get the American Airlines app. It is free. And then link your account to it. In order to do that, all you have to do is create an account on the American Airlines site and then log in with that username and that password. That's all there is to it. And then make sure that your account has your reservation in it. All right, now that should happen automatically when you purchase your tickets because you'll have an American Airlines account, or at the very least, you will be given a confirmation number, and you can do it that way by putting in your confirmation number. So let's take a look at exactly how we're going to make our seat selections. So the first thing you see here is a sample of what this might look like. Now in this case, I'm assuming this is one of two planes. Either it is a Airbus 321, 320, one of those, or it could be a 737. The only reason I'm saying that is because of the seat configuration of 3 aisle 3. The way to be sure is by checking something like Seat Guru, and they will give you a little more information on the exact plane. But for what we're going to do, it's largely irrelevant. So let's take a look at this picture. You will see that there is one seat that's circled and it has a number 1 in it. And you see that right there. I just pointed an arrow to it. That is my seat. Now, if you have more than one person on your confirmation or more than one person traveling, you may see a second one circled with number 2 and number 3 and so on, each one representing one of your party. Now, you'll also notice up above that next to your name, there is also that same circle and that same number. So that's telling you if you have multiple people in your party, it'll tell you number 1 represents this person, number 2 represents that person. So that's where you are right now. Down below, you see it says total $0 US. All that means is you don't have to pay extra for this seat that you've been assigned. But what if you don't like that seat for some reason? For example, you can see across the aisle from me here, 22F is a window seat. Maybe I prefer a window seat. I don't, but maybe I do. I could go ahead and check that seat. Now let's see how I would do that. I'm going to use 24D as an example, but you could click on any one of the blue boxes because the blue boxes represent seats that are available. The gray boxes that are crossed out represent seats that are already taken. So none of those are available to you. So let's look at 24D for a moment. It's got a big circle around it right now. When I select it, that circle's not going to appear, but you can see now that has a little line around it. So it has another box. That's how you know that seat is selected. I want to get some information on that seat. Now once I just press that on my app, more information turns up. You can see here in the lower portion of the screen, it says seat 24D is available. And if I want to select that seat, it will cost me nothing. It's free to change or switch over. This is really great if you're traveling with family and for some reason you're not all together. You can check availability throughout the plane and maybe move your seats around a little bit to get more preferred seating. And if I want to select that seat, all I have to do is click at the bottom where it says select seats. Now I didn't do that in this example because I was perfectly happy with 22C where I was. But if I wanted 24D, all I would have to do is click select seats and it would be done. My seat selection would be made. I would go to the next screen and I would be finished with the seat selection process. There are some other things, however, you might recognize. For example, here you see there are some seats that have dollar signs and they are different colors. So we're going to start by looking at the green seats that have dollar signs. The dollar signs mean you can select these seats. They're available, but they're going to cost money in order to switch to this kind of a seat. Now you can see I'm on a different plane right now because I wanted to show you a different example. This is a 2-aisle 2, so it's a smaller plane. So 9F is now highlighted and it's circled there. This works the exact same way. As soon as I push on 9F in this case, it will give me information down below. Here it says seat 9F will cost me $35. What do I get for that $35? Well, it says it's a preferred seat, standard legroom, meaning it has no more legroom than the seat I was in prior, but it is in a favorable location. Now, what constitutes a favorable location? I don't know. Whatever they seem to think is a better seat. Here, my guess is, if you look at 2 rows behind, 3 rows behind, there is those orange or red dollar signs. Those dollar signs are exit rows, which means they're over the wing, which means seat 9F that is circled right now is in front of the engines. So number 1, it might be a little quieter. And number 2, it's a window seat. Some people prefer window seats. Neither of those things make that big of a difference to me. So I would not be willing to pay $35 for seat 9F. But you might like it. And at least you know before you choose it. It's seat 9F, it's $35. It's standard legroom seat, but it's at a what they consider a favorable location. If you'd want to, you could select the seat and that seat would be yours. So now let's take a look at those exit row. Those are also highlighted and they have dollar signs. Now some airlines, some planes charge you more for exit rows, some don't. I'm going to give you just a few quick pointers on seat selection around exit row. Row 11, so 11A, B, C, D, you can see there's 1 seat still available there. I would not select any of those seats because a seat that is in front of an exit row does not recline. Now there's a very good chance that row 12 doesn't recline either because there's an exit row behind them. So be careful in selecting those seats. Some people like exit rows because typically you get more legroom. The space there has to be wider in case of an emergency so people could pass through there and get to the emergency exit. So you get more legroom. But there's another trade-off that I just don't like so much. And that is the seats, because there's more legroom, the seats do not have the pull-down trays in front. Typically, with the exit row seats, the tray is in your armrest and it flips out and then it folds in half and it flips out a second time. Those are usually narrower, they're a little flimsier in many cases, and they're really close to you, which means if you want to set your computer or something up, an iPad in order to watch a movie, you're looking down rather than looking out in front of you. The other thing, because they have to store those armrests, the seats are a little narrower. It's sort of like you're sitting in a box. So you might want to consider those things before you go ahead and choose that exit row seat. Now I didn't click on one of these exit rows, so I'm not sure if they would charge you or not for this. There's a possibility, it depends on the airline and the airplane. Now there's another option you might see, and that is business class. So I want to show you business class here because I think it's really interesting. This is going to be a Milwaukee to Dallas-Fort Worth flight, which is a pretty long flight. It's going to be about 2.5 hours. So on a longer flight, it might be worth it to pay this $65? Let me go through a few things with you. And this is just one case. It's not always going to be $65. It depends on the plane and the flight. But here it says for that $65 business class, you get priority security and boarding. All that means is you may be able to get through a different screening line, not necessarily. I never use it anyway because I have TSA pre-check. And you're going to board the plane a little earlier before, all of the other boarding groups. Not before first class, certainly, and the priority people who have their charge cards with the airline and all that. But you will get a priority boarding. What does that mean? Well, the biggest thing it means to me, not that I get to sit on that plane longer than everybody else. That's not a real treat. But there's probably going to be overhead space available to you. I think that is the biggest thing. Next thing, it says larger, more comfortable seats. Automatically assigned. Notice that means you cannot select your seat location. So if you like aisle, you might get window even if you're business class. Now there could be some exceptions, but generally speaking, that's going to be an assigned seat. In the air, complimentary food, wine, and other comforts. Notice they're very vague about that. It changes from airline to airline, flight to flight. Longer flights have different amenities than shorter flights. I would ask the flight attendant when you get on, say business class, what can I expect? What do I get that's complimentary? It's not an embarrassing question to ask. That way you know, can I order a cocktail and am I going to have to pay for it or not? And finally, 2 free check bags delivered to baggage claim first. I love it. There is nothing that feels so good. When I flew out to LaGuardia a couple weeks ago, I was on Delta. Yeah, I was on Delta. I had to think about that for a minute. I was on Delta. And I was first class. I got a free first class upgrade. And my bags, first 2 bags, were mine. That hardly ever happens. That is such a good feeling when everyone's waiting at that baggage claim carousel and 2 bags come down. Hey, I'm the guy that gets to pull my bag up and go about my merry way. So anyway, 2 free bags is really a big deal. If you have 2 check bags and you buy big business class, it's almost paid for itself. Because with American, the first bag is $25, the second bag is $35. So that's $60 already. So basically you're paying $5, you get, a cocktail in the air and you're done and you still get all the other amenities. So you really might want to think about buying business class, but make sure that you check the specific benefits for that flight. Don't assume because I showed it to you in this video that that's what it's going to be when you book your flight or when you have a particular flight. It might depend on the route, the plane, all of that stuff. In this case, I almost always have 2 bags when I travel. It would be a no-brainer to pick business class. So that's all there is to it. You can see that making seat selections is really quite simple. Download the app. If you don't have the app, you can do the same thing online. Make sure that you are opening up your confirmation number and all of this will become available to you. Good luck with your travel. As always, I encourage you to like and share the videos. Leave your comments and questions down below. I try to answer questions whenever I get them. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, click my face in the corner and don't forget to ring that bell icon so you know when I post new videos. Happy travels, everyone. I'm Mark, and this is the Average Me Channel.